Welcome to the Objective Notebook and Terms video for Chapter 8. In Chapter 8, we're talking about how God is both a spirit and a person. And so you need to prepare to record these questions and terms in your Objective Notebook at this time. The first question in our objective notebook is, what is the difference between God's essence and his attributes? We're actually going to define those terms when we get to the terms in this lesson, and we're going to discuss that at a pretty great length in the teacher's lesson. So that's kind of the main question of this chapter. And the next question is, what is the spiritual essence of God? We'll explore that. And how should we worship God? Of course, that's a question that goes back to the whole point of this class in the first place, that we need to worship God as he's revealed himself to be, and not some imagination of that. Let's now do our terms. So get prepared to record these terms and their definitions. Here are the terms for this chapter. The first one is essence. As I said, we need to define that term, and that term means that is referring to God's essential being or substance, the reality itself of who God is. We need to define the term idolatry, and that is worshiping a misconception of God. Worshiping a misconception of God, not just necessarily something made out of wood, but if we have a misconception or the wrong idea of who God is, we have created an idol in our mind. We also want to define the term attribute. An attribute is the characteristic of God's essential being. And I'm not sure if that definition helps you or not, but it's basically a characteristic of God's nature. Invisible means unseen or unseeable. So obviously, if something's invisible, where it's unable to be seen. And worship, as we define it in this course, is occupying your heart with knowing God. Occupying your heart with knowing God. There's a few more terms on the next slide, so pause here if you need to get caught up. And here are the remainder of the terms for Chapter 8. Spirit is... Oh, there's another one. Sorry. Spirit is a non-physical being. The way we define spirit in this class is just any being that does not have a physical form. Person, on the other hand, is a being possessing intellect, sensibility, and will. Notice that we are not defining a person as someone who possesses a body. A body is an added element of a human person, but a being possessing an intellect, sensibility, and will is defined as a person. We've talked a lot about doctrine. Whether you realize it or not, we've talked about it, because doctrine is just information held to be true based on our conception of God. Information held to be true based on our conception of God. And we've already talked about anthropomorphism perhaps at this point, or we will. And an anthropomorphism is an assignment of human attributes to a non-human thing. Assignment of human attributes to a non-human thing. Those are the terms for Chapter 8. Make sure that you have both the terms and the questions for this chapter written down so that we can explore them more fully.